Hello, good morning, and welcome to you on this beautiful Monday morning. I'm looking at the weather condition this morning. I believe so many Nigerians will be thinking of what are they going to take before they can get themselves very lively for today's job. But then, you know, 2023 general election is fast approaching. The politics is becoming so intriguing, and the polity is becoming so interesting. So when you look at all that is happening now, the question you ask yourself is, there are about 18 political parties, and all these parties have their presidential candidates set for the general election. But then the question still emerges on who is going to be their vice president. Why Nigerians are focusing on the presidential candidate? The question that still rings round the bell is the issue of who are the potential vice president, because we still know at this particular point in time that we are having some of the political parties having placeholders instead of the actual. So there is that particular time where they are not supposed to elapse, and very soon they will have to bring out the names of their vice president. The PDP has theirs. The APC have a placeholder. The New Nigerian People's Party also have a placeholder. We also have the Labour Party, who also have a placeholder, and some other political parties. But then our hope is that how can we get it right? Because the question of leadership is very, very paramount on how Nigeria is being governed. If you look at the 2015 election, you know that one major factor that played a great role was the issue of insecurity, and as a result of that, it fine-tuned the process on who we decided on as of that point. But then, what will now be the stake of the 2023 general election? Will it still take the same folder? Looking at the 2023 general elections, where insecurity was one of the major campaigning tools against the present opposition party. For that of the APC, yes, you cannot run away from the fact that they've made mention of, or they've achieved some infrastructural development in the country. But still, the issue that they campaigned during the 2023 general election, the issue of insecurity, is still there. Just before the Ondo State election, you also know that there was issue of an attack in the church in Owo. And the Osun State election is coming forth. And we know the security did their best during the election in Ondo State. So now, how far can they go in deciding who becomes the leader of Osun State? But then, that will be a topic for another day. Looking at the 2023 general election, we have so many Nigerians getting set for that election. How prepared are you? Who do you think should be our leaders? What are the qualities of the kind of leaders that we need to have come 2023 election? This is what we are going to be discussing this morning on the roundtable with our guest, a specialist in development and a specialist in security, and then a specialist also in conflict management in person of Dominic Guaman Datong. Good morning, Mr. Dominic Guaman Datong.
Good morning.
It's nice having you this morning on this beautiful Monday morning.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much. So we'll just try as much as possible to look at so many issues regarding the 2023 general election, looking at the present state of the Electoral Act and what is being done. Looking at that beautiful election in Ondo State, we need INEC to do more of that when we move forward to the 2023 when we move forward to the Osun State election, I mean to say. So let's go on a very short break, and then when we return, we start up with the conversation.
Sir, can you please give us the permission to search you? You can go.
Is this a movie? If it happened.
Officer, I beg carry and go station. When our Oga come, you come meet am for there.
Hey, Mr. Man, I cannot do that.
Tell your guy to come to our station when he returns.
Am I in a movie? If it happen,
Mama, please. Mama, please.
Thank God you're here. Do the needful.
Mama, please, just 3 weeks
Madam,
now.
why did you invite us to come help chase your tenant now?
This is a civil matter now.
Is this a movie? If it happen,
If we follow
The new police law.
Welcome back. I'm just laying that foundation for our discussion this morning. Dominic Guaman Datong, good morning once more. And I can see you are looking so excited this morning. Have you already decided who is going to be your candidate for 2023?
Well, you know, the choice of a candidate depends on the people.
Yes, yes.
And the most important thing is for the people to understand what is required, what they need, and then they choose the best person they think will fulfill some of those their requirements.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let us start with, that's just on a mild note. How do you feel knowing that the 2023 general election is fast approaching?
It's really exciting, actually, that government, Nigeria, has given us an opportunity, you know, to select leaders every 4 years. So for any mistakes or whatever that we make at any point, within the next 4 years, we are able to change it. So 2023 is a deciding time for Nigerians that we should look behind, see all those things that we are not able to do, all the failures that we've had, all the mistakes that we've had, and to see how we can choose a good leader that will lead us to a new Nigeria. So it's an exciting period for every Nigerian. And if you look at the social media, the media itself, you find that people are very interested in leadership. So people have come to understand that leadership of this country is very important to their lives. So 2023 election is a very, very important period. And I want everybody to take it as an important period also to help us to select our leaders for the next 4 years.
Okay, now, because one major thing Nigerians normally do is more or less like a ritual now.
Yeah.
You wait every 4 years to decide who your leader, and they pay more attention to the presidential election, forgetting the fact that the state governors have greater influence on who becomes a president. And if you don't get the state governors right, it invariably, you're also going to have a president that you may see him to be active before the election. But once he wins, the state government control them. What can you say with regards to this?
Well, so it's a general issue of the followership, knowing exactly what is required to make their lives better. Generally, you know, in this country, what comes to our mind anytime we talk about leadership is of the country or of a state or of a local government is what religion do you belong? How will my religion be represented? How will my my tribe be represented? How will my region be represented? All those things are primordial requirements that make us to go into you know, situations that that is not required of us. What we need to look at more is how does this person fit into the poverty situation of this country at this moment. So if we start that from the councillorship, the chairmanship, House of Rep, House of Assembly, Senate, Governor, and to the president, then you'll find out that we have a better, you know, a better Nigeria. Because, as you said, the kind of leaders that we have at the councillorship will translate to the local government chairman, will translate to the House of Assembly, will translate up to the governorship. Because All these people are the ones that have the influence to tell people to elect this person or this person. If they don't understand the requirements, the objective of governance in a country like Nigeria, then we'll keep missing it. They will keep pushing the issue of religion, keep pushing the issue of region, keep pushing the issue of brother, and so on. So we need to have people from all levels of these levels of leadership in Nigeria to understand the concept of leadership, the objective of leadership, the targets of leadership, especially as enumerated by the United Nations.
Okay, now if you say we have to understand the concept, not all Nigerians seems to be educated to understand that there should be a concept. All what we look at is what we see on ground sometimes, and then it goes a long way to decide who are the kind of persons we vote into power. When you remember in 2015 election, there was this general voice that the insecurity was much, and then we need a general to calm the situation down, which led to the emergence of President Muhammadu Buhari. And then now we are going into 2023 general election. What perspective do you think the Nigerians are going to use in deciding who is going to lead them? But then to our guests, to our viewers at home and those listening to us on radio, just know that you can also stream us. You can also follow us online via our Facebook page. So please, can you go ahead with that question?
Okay. So in 2015, we were looking at insecurity.
Yes.
Now, what we thought, or what Nigerians thought, is that when we carry guns and walk into Sambisa forest, kill everybody that is there, that is a terrorist, that will be all. But it goes beyond that. There are issues that made people to go into this insurgency or terrorism or whatever it is that we term them to be. There are issues that actually led us into that. Those are the issues that we are supposed to be more worried about. Generally, human beings want good life. Not everybody, very few people, very few people would like to carry AK-47 and live in a bush. If they had a place somewhere within town where they can stay and get whatever it is that is good for their life, they will do it. But the situation in this country makes it possible for these guys to keep recruiting people. For all the number of people that have been killed from 2015 up till now, it's a large number. I mean, I'm talking about the terrorists themselves. Yes. So if they were a finite number, if there were no new recruitments, these people would have finished already because they've killed a lot of them. So we need to sit back and check, what is it that is actually making this situation to keep increasing? Because definitely there are new recruitments every time coming in. Every time this. So what are those situations that made these people to be recruited, to agree to be recruited into terrorist organizations? So I give you an example. In the 2020 report by the UN, 39.8% of Nigerians live under what they define as the poverty line. 39. That is, it translates to over 84 million people. That is the population of maybe like 5 to 10 countries put together. Some countries are not more than 5 million, some 8 million. So you can see a population of countries put together. That is something that the president should put on his dashboard. We have issues of infant mortality. Infant mortality, or under 5 mortality, let me say, Nigeria has the highest in the world as at the 2018 figures from the UN. We should be worried about that.
Are those statistics the defining factor on who should lead us? Or are they also statistics being used by these politicians to take advantage of Nigerians?
Well, so the point is, because the followership does not understand its problem, as I said before, they keep going back to my religion, my region, my brother, and so on. So they forget that these are the basic indices of development. So, generally, people, they worry about how many lanes of roads go to their villages. If you tell somebody, I want to make 10 lanes of road to your villages, he will be very happy. But the question is, you have a 10 billion naira road to your village. A company came, constructed the road, took the money away. You are there sitting down in your village. There is no, even bicycle you cannot buy to ride on that road. So we should look deeper into issues of who our leader is. Let's look at more. What are our issues? Who is it that has, during his campaigns, touched on some of those things? If you look at the American campaigns at that time, Obama, what they call him, Trump.
Trump, yeah.
They were always talking about China. How do we ensure that the Chinese market does not take advantage of the American market?
But our own situation seems to be a bit different because now when you look at the foreign policy of the United States, they look at America first. And when you come to Nigeria, it seems we have more, we should think more inward. We seem to be a bit less concerned about what happens within the region. We are more concerned with the domestic policy. So these domestic policies that some of these leaders look out for, and then making the issue of foreign policy a bit secondary. You know, they also define who becomes the leader. And looking at the track record, let us just look at those that we have presently as the four major contender for that position. Now, let us look at them. Okay, these are the four major contenders, and then we have Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the All Progressive Congress. You have Atiku Abubakar of the People's Democratic Party. You have Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso of the New Nigerian People's Party, and then you have the Labour Party presidential candidate in person of Peter Obi. Now, let us start with Peter Obi. Peter Obi was a former governor of Anambra State. What can you say about him?
Well, I actually wouldn't want to, pitch, because if I say things
I don't
about
want you
the
to pitch
candidates,
tent now.
yeah?
I don't want you to pitch tent. I want you to look at the general characteristics that
Okay.
we should use to ferret who should be the best of leader. I don't say you should choose a particular candidate, but what are the qualities do you think these
Okay.
candidates have that we can look out for?
So really, I think Peter Obi has a very good understanding of development indices. And really, as I said before, that is what a leader should have, a president, a Nigerian president should have on his dashboard.
Yes.
A Nigerian president should not know how electricity is brought into Abuja, how it is, how it is produced. No, the question is, how much electricity do we have? It should be on his dashboard. I think Peter Obi has a good understanding, because if you hear some of the statistics he gives about some development indices, the education levels, and so on, you will understand that, he understands the issues within Nigeria. And the question is, can you galvanize people to be able to solve this? It's something else to have it in your head that, I have an issue with education, for example. But can you galvanize people, bring them together to ensure that that is achieved?
But then if you say he has this in his head, probably no presidential candidate will say they don't have a background of what Nigerian situation is all about, right from Olusegun Obasanjo down to Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, down to Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, and then the current president. They seem to have an idea of what the statistics is all about. So beyond the statistics, what else do you think he has on the table for Nigerians?
Well, I think it's best for him to be able to say.
Okay. Now let us move to the next candidate in person of Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso. I'm taking in ascending order.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move to Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso now. So now, if you look at Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, he was a former defense minister, a two-time governor of Kano State. And also, he has so many, being a senator, being in the House of Rep, he has held so much position. So what qualities do you think Nigerians should look out for him?
Okay, so if you look at Kwankwaso and look at the Kano that he met and the Kano that he left, and also the love that a lot of people in Kano have for him, then you will understand that, okay, really he has something to offer, because he offered something in his state, in areas where I know he's also very interested in education. He has flown quite a number of Kano people from Kano to go study abroad. Some of them have graduated and are doing very well. So I think he also has a lot to provide. If you also look at the infrastructural development, Kano changed under his tenure. It changed very well. So I think he is also some good person that is going to help to change the course of time.
Just yesterday, he made mention that it can't be, because there was this issue of merger between the Labour Party and then the NNPP, and then he said, well, for both of them, they have their own strengths, so also they have their own weaknesses. And then he raised so many issues why he couldn't merge with the Labour Party, and then because he cannot be the vice president because of some reasons, according to him. And also that of Peter Obi, also him saying he also has his own followers. So if you look at these two people, do you think they have something in common? For them to have their own stand, that, look, I can't merge to be the vice. What do you think they can do together to be the third force for Nigeria?
Okay, so before that, I would like to say that it's very good that we have people of very strong character, you know, during this 2023 election. Very strong character. People with large amounts of followers. It's very, very, very good. For me, honestly, I would prefer that they go their ways.
Their ways, okay.
They go their ways. Why? Because, you know, for all our elections, our previous elections, there were only 2 people that would contest. But this time around, we have up to 4 people that are very, very strong. Before, when you have election results, in fact, the difference between the two, the first and the second, is far more than the total of all the other political parties put together. So I think it's a good thing for this country that we are able to know that more than 2 people can actually vie for this position. And this kind of competition is very healthy for us, because tomorrow Nigerians will have a better, a wide range of choices, you know, to make between more people.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, going forward, and then we have the PDP candidate in person of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. Alhaji Atiku Abubakar won during his primaries, and then one major thing that took place then was the issue of the Sokoto State governor stepping down also in support of him, making him to have a kind of block vote and support across all PDP states. So what can you say his chances of clinching ticket for 2020, clinching the election for 2023 election?
Okay, so I may not be able to predict his chances because if I do that, it may be a support for him on this program. Okay. And I'm going. I know you are going to charge me for campaigning for Atiku.
So now, what do you think are the qualities?
Yeah, but one very good thing that I have heard him say, which I think I love, is his desire to unify this country. His desire to unify this country is so enormous. Every time he talks about it. And you will agree with me that this country is really, really fragmented. From children to the oldest adults.
That's from top to bottom and from bottom to top.
Top to bottom and
Okay.
bottom to top.
Okay.
You know, we're fragmented. And the issue of unifying the country is very important for us to be able to do any other thing. Any other thing comes under the unification of this country. Because, I mean, even if you don't know the issues, if you are able to get people, the right people in place, without regard to religion, without regard to region, without regard to your kinsmen, then that will change the course of Nigeria.
Okay. Now, you've made mention of this, and so many persons will definitely agree that, yes, most of these candidates, they also have these qualities. And looking at them being governors of state, and in this state they govern, there are Muslims, there are Christians, there are minorities, there are majorities, there are different sects of group in that particular state. So invariably, all these candidates possess this quality. Now, when you look at the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, in person of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he won his election also during the APC presidential primaries, and nobody expected it because of the hiccups he had with so many outbursts before the election. Nobody expected that Tinubu will clinch the ticket until that fateful day. So what do you think are the qualities he has to win the 2023 general election?
Okay, one good thing that I like about him is that he is able to mentor people. If you look at his grip in the South West, you'll understand that he's really a leader. Because leaders are supposed to be able to groom people to make them follow their course. And if you look at the way he has a lot of followership within the Western region, and some time ago, like in 2015, his influence has gone up to the north. So I think that kind of influence, which is even the definition of leadership. Leadership is more of influence. He has that, and I'll give that to him. If he is able to put that into motion and really influence people of value into his government, then Nigeria is going to be good for it. Generally, our problem in leadership is that I don't know whether we have been bewitched. We always want to gather everything ourselves. At the end of the day, you have everything and people beside you do not have anything. Then you cannot sleep. You cannot even enjoy those things that you have. So if we can actually leave out the issue of self and look at community, the Nigerian community as paramount, then we will enjoy the benefits of it. But the issue of influence, I really give it to him, and I hope if he wins, he would use that kind of influence to influence people from all around the country, not minding religion, not minding region, and so on, to ensure that people will have one example of good leadership in this country.
So now, when you look at all these four candidates now, and then you look at the situation of things in the country, now bearing in mind that we have high rate of inflation, we have insecurity coming up today, going out tomorrow, coming up the next day, and you also look at the issue of our currency. These are critical times, and I do fear for anybody that will emerge come 2023, it will be facing so much challenge, including that of the fuel subsidy that is still pending. Looking at all these candidates, what do you think they should prepare for ahead?
Well, so for me, 2023 offers us an opportunity to look back and see what do we do going forward. Our unemployment rates are extremely high. I can't remember the numbers, but
roughly 38.2%.
Okay, yeah, okay, 38.2. It's very high. It's quite high, and that is a factory for insecurity. That's the factory for insecurity. We must look at it. We must learn to trust our own people to do some things and make mistakes. If you want to build a bridge, do you have to bring a Chinese to do that? Do we have civil engineers that you can test to see that we are able to or we are not able to do that? If you look at the South Korean model, South Korea, by 1960, they were poorer than Nigeria. From 61, they took a decision. They decided that we are going to build exports. Not just that we sit down and have people come to our country to sell things to us, but we will build our own materials also to send. One thing that they did that is very amusing, they started making clothes. Do you know where they sent it to? America. They sent their clothes to America. America had every technology to make millions of clothes for their citizens. But they decided, okay, these people were going to make our clothes and send to you. At a point, the Americans found that, these clothes are looking very good, and they are cheaper than ours. They started buying them. Gradually, they moved out of poverty. They started exporting, earning dollars, and so on. Today, it's a story. You look at the likes of Samsung, Hyundai, and all those ones. They are South Korean products. They started from nothing. In fact, they were poorer than Nigeria by 1960.
Okay, but you've raised a major issue here because when you make comparative analysis of South Korea and then looking at the African states, we seem to operate different kind of leadership. But then we'll discuss that when we return from this break because these are critical issues we have to look out for. Looking at the Electoral Act also, how will that fine-tune the decision? How will INEC improve on its system? Because we've seen a very good job being done in Ondo State. So these are critical issues. We'll definitely come back to discuss. So stay with us. And then when we return back from the break, we put up the phone line so that you can join us also.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we will realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be willed by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite. This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of ASO Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, ASO Television Star Times Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, and UHF Channel 38.
Welcome back. Still with me in the studio is Dominic Guaman Datong. And Guaman Datong is a conflict, security, and development expert. We've been discussing issues with regards to democracy improvement in the country and looking at the kind of leaders we should have in 2023 general election. But then, to our listeners at home and our viewers, you must have heard him in the first half of our discussion. So what is your take on who we should focus on and what are the qualities of leaders that we need come 2023 general election? And the number to call is 090-5740-8127. I'll take that again, 090-5740-8127. So you call stating your name, your location, and make your submission known to us. So still on the issue we started before we called for the break. Now, looking at the South Korea, okay, we'll have a call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Please, your name and where you're calling from.
I am A. Williams. I'm calling from Zuba.
Okay, thank you so much for calling.
Yeah, good morning.
You can go ahead with your submission.
Well, I've been listening to you with rapt attention, and you've made some points. Then I will also want to advise us Nigerians that we must take the bull by the horn ourselves by making sure we synergize efforts towards achieving a credible president come 2023 general election. And in order to achieve that, you see, we'll be polarized around religion, tribe, and all of that indices. But what matters now is what actually do we want as Nigerians? Do we want to continue the way we have been moving with a lot of pains, hunger in the land, agony, insecurity, and the likes? We need people that are credible enough, who have the interest of Nigeria at heart, who will unite Nigeria and who will revive our economy, revamp our economy, and make it become what it ought to be. We are not supposed to be a beggarly nation as we are now. We have borrowed so much that it takes us up to 3 decades to clear the indebtedness of Nigeria at the moment. We need a change, a positive change, and who are these people that will help us achieve this change? We have profiled candidates like His Excellency Peter Obi, Kwan Kwetua, and the likes. And my piece of advice to both of them is this: they are going to synergize and merge in order to produce a credible candidate come 2023 presidential election. If they don't merge, I don't see the possibility of Kwan Kwetua of the North, gathering sufficient votes that will make him the next president, because we shouldn't forget that Atiku Abubakar also is from the North. The Nigerian, the federal government now, the president we have is from the North, and we'll have to consider the fact of power shift. That is why I'm going to be appealing and talking to Kwan Kwetua so that he accepts this merger with P2B. Him becoming the vice president is not a misplacement. Is not. It shouldn't be a thing of how can I be under this man as a vice president? But because now he's not occupying any political position at the moment, so it is sufficient reason for him to accept his merger to serve as the vice president in P2B. But if he refuses, he will end up splitting the votes of the Northerners between himself and Atiku Abubakar, and perhaps some loyalists to Ahmed Tinubu. So the merger of these two great parties is going to produce the result we want. And then we're talking about the qualities of the forthcoming president. You see, His Excellency P2B has been stated and trusted. We know him as a good manager, a philanthropist, a person who knows the problem of Nigeria and knows what to do to fix it. You are talking about the indebtedness of Nigeria, and the person coming, imagine our president next year is going to be setting a lot.
Okay, thank you so much. So that our guests can have enough time also to deliberate on what you've raised. Thank you so much for calling. Now, you've listened to him. Definitely, he has a preferred candidate, but then we cannot run away, because when you look at all the candidates Nigerians have, we have more than that 4 candidates. We have almost 18 presidential aspirants, and everybody do believe that they have the quality for them to be able to come out and say, look, I want to be a Nigerian president. Should it be a sole decision or a decision made by all Nigerians?
Well, so since we are going to going to the polls to select one of them, then it means it's the decision of Nigerians. The good thing is for us to study very well whatever it is that the people are saying, all those people that are contesting. Whatever they say comes from the wealth of the knowledge of lack of knowledge that they have. If you hear some keywords that are capable, or that could be capable of making us to remain the way we are, then you have to raise it. You have to raise it with friends, family, ensure that you tell them, so that tomorrow they will not vote for that kind of a person. also, if you hear something that you think is good, that is going to benefit you, your family, your state, and the country at large, then you need to help also to propagate it. Because we have issues that we need somebody at the top there to help to resolve. And, you know, we put too much of emphasis on the presidency. And I think it's not really very good. Because the state governments actually are closer to the people. They are actually supposed to be the instruments of development in those areas. So our focus should be more on our state governors and how they are able to translate whatever vision that the president has into their own local areas. Because at the end of the day, if the president reduces the cost of government there and the state governor cannot help in the farm, I'm from the village, so if you cannot help in seeing that the production on our farmlands up, then we will not go anywhere, because the president will be doing his own. The state governor will not be synchronizing with him. I tell people, if you look at the internal generated revenues of states, you will be baffled. In the same country where we live now, a state like Lagos has an internally generated revenue of over 500 billion in a year. A state like Plateau has about 20 billion in a year. Meanwhile, these are states that have, you know, debts of over 150 billion, like in the case of Plateau State. You have Kaduna State. Kaduna State, well, they've been able to, double their internally generated revenue within the Rufai tenure. You know, whether you like him or not, these are things that will speak. Even though they also are laden with a lot of foreign debt. I can't remember exactly the figure, but it's over 300 million US dollars. So we must be able to, you know, watch our state governors too, because whatever it is the top does, if you remain like a valve that blocks it from getting down to the people, the country remains like that.
And that also leads us to where we are what we are discussing, because you cannot discuss the presidential candidate and then you don't also look at the situation that they will likely face. The issue of inflation, the issue of the currency devaluation, so many issues, insecurity, just name them. So when you look at all these things, do we, amongst all these candidates, 18 or whatsoever candidate we have, presently I think we have 16 plus, among all these candidates, do you think we have that person that can help us out of this quagmire?
Well, so the fact is, as we said, everybody has his own strengths and weaknesses. They also say this. They also say that. But an understanding also of the issues, as I keep saying, is very, very important. Let me give you an example. Devaluation of the naira. If you talk to most people, they will think, devaluation of the naira is a bad thing. It's because we are not a productive economy. Today, if we make 1 naira equal to $1, we'll buy toothpick from America, because the only difference will be the transportation cost. So what will that toothpick maker in Aba do? What will he sell? Today, if you make 1 naira to $1, I'll buy jackets, suits from the UK. What will the tailor in Abaji, Abuja, do? His business will die. So devaluation of the naira, in a way, helps the local businesses. And you can imagine that for everything that you buy from abroad, Nigeria pays dollar across to the other side. So if you decide to give it a value that is too low for people to buy anything that they want to buy, at the end of the day, you lack the stock of the dollar, and you cannot buy essential things like raw materials, machinery, drugs, and others. So the country will die.
But then they say politicians also contribute to it, because if you look at the election during the primaries we had, and then we noticed also EFCC following up issues with regards to the use of money during election. Now, when you use dollars or probably use money to buy your way into becoming the candidate of a political party, is that a good omen for a country that is in its fourth term of democracy?
It's really, really, really bad. And we must find ways to discourage it. We must find ways to discourage it. However, a delegate leaves a village in Akwa Ibom, takes a night bus, comes to Abuja. Nobody gives him a dime. The system does not provide for him to be given accommodation, feeding, transportation, and so on. He looks for money, invests in quotes, to come to Abuja for a primary election. What do you think he will do? He will look for the person that will pay him back higher returns. So what I'm saying is, we must provide somehow for these delegates. Either political parties will do it or government will do it, so that when a delegate is going from one location to the other to vote, he will already have money for his upkeep. And then when he goes there, it's going to be his thinking, his evaluation of the candidates that will be paramount. But when you don't provide for them, they go there, they see money, and they take it. And also politicians will also exploit that kind of situation. So we must find a way to systematically, within the system, change that issue, or else it will continue. And if it continues, we'll continue to churn out bad leaders, we'll continue to suffer, our development indices will continue to degrade, and will not go anywhere.
Okay. Now, looking at what the last caller, the first and last caller said, it raised issue that there are certain politicians, definitely, you cannot talk about some politicians without talking about tribe. You cannot talk about them without talking about religion.
Oh, sure.
Some uses this opportunity to get what they want. What is your take on that, those that have regional basis and those that have tribal or religious sentiment?
Well, so the thing is, it's already a reality on ground, right? That people vote based on such indices. And it's not something that we can change in the 2023 election. For me, I think the change in that will only come when they see one example of good leadership in this country. That then they will say, okay, so this thing is not an issue of tribe. So this thing is not an issue of religion. I think people are already realizing that, and they are already thinking. If you look at Peter Obi has support in the north. What do they call him?
Kwankwaso.
Kwankwaso has support in the west. Atiku has support in the east, and so on. So somehow, gradually, with time, we are going to get over it. But the reality on ground is, whatever you are going to do now to get votes, that's, of course, you can see placeholders everywhere. It's because they want to say, okay, which region should I bring my deputy from so that it will help me garner votes? Or which religion should it be? So there are issues of discussion. But so although they are not major issues that will help us as a country, but they are the realities of time. So while we campaign along those lines, we must, in the future, find a way to ensure that this kind of decisions do not are not those ones that will, shouldn't
find their place on the table.
Exactly, it shouldn't be. But as I said, it takes some time because they are the realities on ground.
Because if you take a look at, for instance, the issue of religion, we've seen states being governed by Muslim governor, the deputy also being a Muslim. You have states where they are being governed by Christians, and then the deputy also being a Christian. But at the end of the day, you still ask yourself, what have we actually benefited from this kind of decision? Because it transcends beyond the issue of religion, or you being, for instance, an Ibira man, and then your deputy also being an Ibira man, or your speaker also being, and then you still don't, when you go back to their hometown, you don't see any major difference. So it is high time Nigeria looks beyond issues of this kind of sentiment and then get the best of leaders. At the end of the day, when you go to the market, you don't ask where you have to get the poor goods from. You get the best from where you need to get it from. Exactly. So on a last note, what is your final take?
Well, my final take is still to talk to Nigerians that 2023 is a major point of decision for this country. Our primordial sentiments of tribal attachments, religious attachment, regional attachment that have dragged us backwards should be behind us. And the major issues is those things that the candidates discuss that told us they are going to do they actually fit into what our dream Nigeria would be? And then for the candidates also, if they have not started doing it, let them study, understand the real issues about Nigeria, the issues about poverty, lack of jobs, and so on, and make them the center stage of their campaigns. Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Dominic Guaman Datong. Dominic Guaman Datong is a conflict security and developmental expert. Today, we discussed on major issues with regards to the 2023 general election and who should emerge and what are the qualities we need to look out for when we want to cast our vote. 2023 election is fast approaching, and then the decision you need to make is by looking at the antecedent of all candidates and choose the right person for the right position from top to bottom. That is what we used to say these days. But then, thank you so much for listening this morning. And Mr. Dominic, thank you for joining us on the program, The Roundtable. Thank you. It has been a pleasure. Yeah, thank you so much. And to our viewers and listeners at home, this is how far we can go. Have a wonderful Monday. Thank you, and God bless.